Welcome to Writers of Mystery and Magic. I'm joined today by author Gordon Strong. Hello, Gordon.
Hello.
Now, Gordon, you're a prolific author of both fiction and non-fiction, and your first novel was Dawn of the Goddess. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say is that I didn't ever think that I would write a kind of Tolkien-esque type of book. As soon as you write a book about a knight, a wizard and a magician, people compare you with that kind of genre. Other people said to me, well, you've written non-fiction about this kind of stuff, so you're bound to write eventually a fictional piece, which I did. One of the things that was the big influence was for me was a realization about the goddess and how much I related to the feminine, particularly Isis and the feminine psyche. And so the whole theme of the return of female power after a period of kings was essential to the whole thing.
Looking at your fiction, you're obviously someone who likes to see the funny side of things in life.
True. When I wrote the second book, which was called Senoir and the Purple Haze, I felt that I couldn't write another book that was just straight. I had to write something where I would have modern references that would qualify some of the things I wrote. I mean, that just seemed the way it would flow.
And you're a romantic too. The boy always gets the girl in the end.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I suppose I don't think I'd find it very easy to write tragedy. And I do like to think that things, we live in a beautiful world and that people are happy.
And Doorway to Darkness is your sixth novel, isn't it? Can you tell us more about that?
Surely. Again, there was a whole theme where I've obviously written books about stone circles and Neolithic monuments, and that's the setting for Doorway into Darkness. And again, I never thought that I would do that, but it seemed to me that here was a perfect way of introducing various themes, particularly about multi-dimensions and other worlds.
I can't help noticing that you like to feature very English eccentric characters in your books.
Well, I think I like Englishness and I like eccentricity and idiosyncrasy. I think that's what makes us, as the English, something particular, something special in the world. We're also subversive. And the person that you think isn't a threat, in fact, is the one that usurps the tyrant.
And your villains have these amazing names like Vargle Snipe and Zandra Croup and Stibbs Gully. Where do you get the ideas from?
Well, I think the thing about thinking of names of characters and places, you have to have some reference point. But if you too obviously pinpoint where you're coming from, then it doesn't quite work. So what you can do is you can do things from another language. Welsh is very useful, and also it gives me, if I'm basing my character on somebody who's real, somebody I've met perhaps, or somebody that is in the news or something, then it just reminds me of who that character is.
Another theme in your fiction is the corporate monster, the bully, the tyrant. Where did you get that inspiration from?
Well, I think we live in an age where, that is the biggest threat. Uniformity, conformity, and the fact that I think we're being screwed by governments and big business. I mean, that's not something that I think is just a personal view. That seems to be something universal at the moment.
And you also wrote the American trilogy, which is a wholly different setting and culture. Was that quite a challenge?
Very much so. I mean, it was something I really wanted to do because I've spent so much time in America and I had ambivalent feelings about it. I had a great love for America, but there were things that I found slightly sinister about the culture. But I didn't want to do books that were just trashing America. I wanted to do something that sort of balanced the two perspectives.
Do you have the whole story in mind when you actually start writing a novel?
No, I have various themes, and I do a vague framework, but I'm not somebody who can begin at the beginning and go right through to the end. My mind doesn't work like that. So I tend to say concentrate on a piece, say in the middle or something like that. The best analogy I can think of is where like a portrait painter, if you don't get the eyes right, then the whole thing won't be right. So you concentrate on the bits that you think are the significant aspects of the story.
Are you going to continue writing both fiction and non-fiction in future?
Well, one of the reasons why I've started doing fiction is because I've run out of things to write about for non-fiction. I mean, there will be a couple of more non-fiction books. And also, the sky's the limit with fiction. Not to say that you don't do research and you have to work just as hard, but there's something about, there's a challenge in it, and that's, I think, the thing that excites me at the moment.
Now, Gordon, you started off by writing non-fiction, didn't you? Do you have to do a lot of research?
It certainly does. The point is you can't get everything you want off the internet. I mean, I'm very fortunate because I have an extensive library, so I can consult stuff when necessary.
And you're regarded as rather an expert in certain areas, aren't you? Can you elaborate?
Well, it was interesting. When I wrote my first non-fiction book, which was about Stanton Drew and its stone circles, I rather got the name of somebody who was the person who was the authority on it. So I actually got the name of Mr. Stanton Drew from that.
But there has got to be some room for speculation, hasn't there?
There certainly does. I mean, these are not historical or factual accounts of what happened. These are pieces where I'm trying to speculate as to the mindset of the people who were involved, be it in Arthurian times or be it even further back in Neolithic times, for instance.
Would you say that you're trying to achieve a balance between the intuition and reason?
Yes, I think you have to do this. I mean, I think there's a place for channeled information, channeled books, but I think one has to take into account the logical and the reasoned approach, or else you lose any kind of perspective that involves common sense.
But you do like to bring in an unexpected angle on things, don't you? Such as including quantum physics in a book about the Grail.
I think you have to bring in entirely new perspectives into your argument or your debate, or else all you're doing is reiterating information that's come before from other authors.
Thank you very much, Gordon. So do join us again on Writers of Mystery and Magic.